Well, good evening and welcome to the City Council meeting for Monday, July 21st, 2025. We will begin with a roll call and determination of quorum.
Lehman. Here. Maher. Here. Roberts. Here. Stroman. Here. Pettigrew. Here. Sechrist. Here. Bieberdorf. Tamang. Here. Evans. Here. Meyer. Here. We have a quorum.
Thank you. Before we move on to the invocation, just want to take a moment to acknowledge the passing of former legislator and city attorney Mike Dietrich. He was a man who served our community and state with honor, and our thoughts and prayers go out to him and to his family and to all those who loved him. We thank him for his service, and he was a great man and will be missed. With that, we will move on to our invocation. Is Pastor Scott Wiley here? There you are. If you're able and willing, would you please stand for the invocation, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance?
Let us pray. Thank you, Lord, for this wonderful community in which we can live and work and raise families. Thank you for this council and each member. We thank you for all those who serve this community through law enforcement, public works, development, fire protection, financial management, and all the other aspects of what makes our city thrive. We pray that you will bring glory to yourself through a spirit of peace and unity in these proceedings. We pray for insight to be bestowed upon each council member. We pray that decisions will be made with wisdom, compassion, and clear vision. We pray, Father, that you will be close to those who are dealing with loss. And we commit this time to your glory and for the good of your creation. In the name of Christ, the Lord, we pray. Amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Next, I'll entertain a motion to adopt the agenda. Motion by Lehman, second by Evans. All in favor? Any opposed? All right, the agenda is adopted. Next, we have a special time for an awards presentation by the Sustainability Committee to Security First Bank. So the members of the committee and Security First Bank representatives, you want to meet me right over here at the podium? Well, this is fun. Are you ready to give the speech in just a minute? All right. Well, tonight, the Sustainability Committee has decided to acknowledge and honor Security First Bank, and they're going to end up receiving this wonderful plaque. And we will go ahead and hand it over to the committee, who will share a few words about the reason why.
Hi, I'm Olivia Berger, member and secretary of the Rapid City Sustainability Committee, and today the City of Rapid City's Standing Committee on Sustainability is honored to present Security First Bank with a Sustainability Award for 2025. This award is presented several times a year by the Sustainability Committee to different businesses, organizations, or individuals that contribute to the social, environmental, and economic sustainability of the community. Under the leadership and vision of Gregory Hunter, President and CEO of Stockman's Financial Corporation, Security First Bank has recently constructed its Buffalo Crossing Corporate and Operations Building in Rapid City at the corner of South Highway 16 and Catron Boulevard. The building is a physical representation of Security First Bank's corporate values of service quality, teamwork, integrity, adaptability, and accountability. It is unique to the area in many ways, including its contemporary aesthetic, environmental considerations, minimal operational costs with acute attention to the selection of building systems, and maximal long-term asset value. It is likely the most sustainable commercial building in the Rapid City area. It serves as a beautiful, comfortable, and healthy place to work and do business and provides an example to the community of the value of thinking long-term and paying attention to details. Some of the sustainability-related highlights of the building include an advanced medical-grade air filtration system, LED lighting with occupancy sensors, ground-loop geothermal heating and cooling, participation in the Black Hills Energy Renewable Ready program, and a green living roof. Accepting the award for Security First Bank will be Gregory Hunter, President and CEO of Stockman's Financial Corporation, Security First Bank.
Sure. Mayor Sullivan, members of the City Council, Chairman Anderson, and members of the Rapid City Sustainability Committee. Who knew that going green could earn more than overdraft fees? Seriously, on behalf of the entire team at Security First Bank, I'm deeply honored and grateful to accept this year's Rapid City Sustainability Award. When we began planning for the construction of our corporate office at 1919 Hope Court, we made a conscious decision to go beyond the ordinary with design features that included several energy-efficient elements, including geothermal, wind energy, solar, a green roof, natural gas, and 3 charge point EV superchargers. Sustainability wasn't just a checklist, it became a mindset. Too often, ordinary becomes the default. It's easy, it's familiar, and it's comfortable. But ordinary rarely leads to progress. Sustainability in many ways is just common sense, but common sense doesn't always mean common practice. We chose to challenge that. Thank you once again for this recognition.
Next, we'll move on to general public comment. This is time for members of the public to discuss or express concerns to the council on any issue not on the agenda. Action will not be taken at the meeting on any issue not on the agenda except by placement on the agenda by unanimous vote of the council members present. I do have one speaker request form for general public comment. As a reminder, it's 3 minutes, and you'll have a countdown timer right above us here. We have Mark Millar.
Evening, Council. Aren't you glad you get over with me first off? It's got to get better from here, right? Lots of old faces, some new faces. I see in the new council member, I follow him on Facebook. He says that in the back room, there's a little bit of question about some of the personalities in this community. I'm glad I stick out in your minds. I'm not necessarily against growth or positiveness of this city. Although I am concerned about the way the city spends our money. We've doubled our budget in the last 4 years. I'm guessing that the budget the mayor comes out with next week will be $350 million. Who knows? In 2020, before we got COVID money, our original budget was $140 million. So that gives you a little scope onto some of the projects that are being proposed now. I suppose if we had stuck at $140 million as a city budget, it would be hard to propose a new coming $160 million airport that won't put us in a different market in the air industry. We can't buy into more passengers. That's just going to come with time. We gauge everything in this city against Sioux Falls. And I'd just like to go back a little here to last spring when the city council couldn't come together to let a church group open a warming center. That very same week, Watertown opened their third city-sponsored warming center. So maybe we shouldn't gauge everything against Sioux Falls. I do have one other concern. I see that we're proposing, looking at a new ordinance for vacation property rental. And I wonder how this conflicts with what the city did just a few years back when you passed the ordinance disqualifying anybody from running a business out of their property. Some of you were here on that council. I think the main issue was the city didn't have the NADS to tell a body shop operator that he couldn't operate his body shop at midnight. So we wrote a blanket ordinance that let grandmas not run their quilting businesses. I was told to stop running my electrical contracting business out of my home, which is just basically my office and the storage of my tools, which I still do, but I'm in illegal. And now you're going to let the developers rent properties all over the city. That seems like business in a home. So I'm concerned about that, if we'll be changing that other ordinance back. And congratulations on your raise, 67%, that's nice.
Thank you. That concludes general public comment, and we will move on to non-public hearing items 3 through 35. In open public comment for items 3 through 27, I have no speaker request forms for those items. So we will close the public comment and move on to consent items 3 through 27. Would the council like to wish to remove any items for separate consideration? Councilor Lehman.
Thank you, Mayor. Item 22.
Any other items? Otherwise, I'll entertain a motion to approve items 3 through 27 with the exception of 22. Motion by Bieberdorf with a second by Evans. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Item 22, approve resolution number 2025-074, a resolution levying assessment for abatements of nuisances. And it looks like Councilor Lehman's chiming in for the Finance Director, Daniel Ainsley.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I just wanted to note that the property owner for 4220 Brookside Drive paid earlier today, so we'd like to have that one removed and would ask that the balance would be approved.
Okay. Got a motion by Lehman with a second by Tamang to approve the balance with the exception of the noted item. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. That takes us to the end of consent items. We will move on to non-consent items 28 through 35. In open public comment for items 28 through 35, I do have a handful of speaker request forms. The first one will be from Arnold, is it Fernandez? I can't, it's hard for me to see that. And that'll be followed by Joel Brannon.
Good evening, Council. I'm Arnold Hernandez, and I live up in North Street here, where this new proposed, I called and spoke to Jason Beal today, and about what the proposal is for this. And some of my neighbors are concerned they couldn't make it, jobs, this and that. But I've lived up here for 39 years, almost 40, and I live on almost the corner of Lemon Street. I'm not opposed to development for elderly care, and it would be nice to have some extra ones for them. It's the site. And by that I mean, since I lived up there, the property I bought was built on an old dumpster ground that covered over a block of that street, North Street, and it's packed down. And sometimes it cracks and the roads have to be repaired. That one is sloping to the right. It always cracks on the right side as they drive with the big trucks and all that on North Street from the top down. And that is one of my concerns. If you build there, could you guys have it tested for secure ground security for the building and the safety of the people that would live in that complex of 40-some units? And then the direction was, when I spoke to them, they would be viewing to the north. Rapid City is a beautiful city. I think that you should split it and have some, it's just a thought, the people I talked to up in North Street, for them to view around the city and not just look out at a couple of houses or somebody in their underwear watering their lawn or something. The other thing is to have it really tested for the security of the ground. That is a big drop off behind going down to the Journey Museum because I live right at the top of it across the street. And that open lot you guys are proposing, excuse me, could be tested to see how secure the ground is to hold the foundation in the building itself. Whether or not it would be, it'll be up to the how your developers and all check it out and all that. I'm not against it. Some are, but I came down here to say I'm wishing the best for it if it is developed. And I'm hoping that they put in security for the parking and the stability of that building if they build it. Thank you
Thank you,
very
sir.
much.
Thank you. Joel Brannon. And I believe Joel is going to give a presentation regarding item 33. He will be followed by D'Amico Rodriguez.
Well, thank you, Mr. Mayor and City Council members for allowing me this opportunity. This is a project that's been in the works since 2019. And as you can see, this project has developed, been redeveloped, and then redeveloped again, looking for every opportunity to make this something very, very special for Western South Dakota. When we started this project, it was hard for the equity partners that were coming into Rapid City to really have a full understanding of why this community was so underdeveloped. They really looked at, as we're developing the performers, they were looking at this and wondering, why is it that other communities have such a draw, and Rapid City, with all it has, with Mount Rushmore and Crazy Horse and so many amenities, why is it that we have such a hard time getting people to stay more than one night? That seemed to be, that we took that kind of as a challenge, and looking at what are the problems, what can we do, what are the opportunities to create that wow factor to get people to stay in Rapid City more. We were looking to give vacation families a reason to stay in Rapid City rather than just drive through. And that's what really manifested itself into what we're looking at here today, which is a theme park, what some people refer to as an amusement park or a county fair. This is, as you can see on the screen, this is way, way beyond that. When we looked at Rapid City, and really trying to study it and trying to understand what we were faced with, what our challenges were, we started looking at comparables. And I know most of you have seen these, but you look at Rapid City, and well, we have almost 4 million visitors annually, and one of the comparables that we looked at was the Wisconsin Dells that has about 5 million. We kept looking at that and wondering, how is it that with 1 million visitors difference, how can we be 3.5 times behind on visitor spending? So we really started looking at what do we have to do in order to get those visitors that are coming to this beautiful city. What can we do to get them to stay? And one of the things that really generated a huge opportunity for Rapid City was when the concept of the sports complex came up. The sports complex, you can see in the top right-hand corner, is absolutely is an incredible opportunity for this community. But how do we build on that? How do we take the sports complex and build on that? Then we started looking at the hotel, a hotel with a really nice upscale restaurant, a water feature, not a water park, a water feature. And how do we create this environment so that we have an environment that people want to come to be a part of? And that's really what drove us to look at, what are the major anchor tenants that we need in order to make this theme park truly a theme park. So we were looking at IMAX theaters. We've been working with a a number of anchor tenants that have expressed extreme interest in coming to this community. Not just the RD&E, not just the environmental walkthrough and theming that this brings, but how do we bring a really upscale attraction that brings people here and gets people to stay here. And that really kind of goes to our resort village. Our resort village is, we feel like, is a huge complement to this whole theme park, because everything in this facility is themed. There's 5 distinct theme zones, and so how do we do that?
Mr. Brandon, I'm going to have to pause you there because we have 3 minutes for presentation. However, when we get to your item, we might have you come back up and share some more of this detailed information, if that's all right.
No problem.
Okay. Thank you. D'Amico Rodriguez, you're next for 3 minutes, followed by Ali Fermonic.
Good evening, Council, and thank you again for the opportunity to speak. D'Amico Rodriguez with the Rapid City Sports Commission, and I'm speaking in favor of the proposed Liberty Land project. And obviously, the Council made some huge investments into Rapid City, the growth, by allowing the Council and the city to invest funds, whether it's TIF, vision funds, and so on for the sports complex. But I'm up here to put the importance on these 2 projects, the sports complex and Liberty Land, and the synergy that it will create for additional revenue, additional visitors, particularly in the winter months. Obviously, we've been part of the project from the very beginning. The Brandon family and the Lean family have all made an investment into this project. Obviously, the sports complex is a huge component, but the 2 must coexist for Rapid City to meet its full potential of that site out there. And so I'm just asking for your support on the Liberty Land project plan, of which Mr. Brandon will go into more detail on with questions. But again, the one word that Mr. Ainsley has been talking, has planted in my mind from the very beginning, is transformational. These 2 projects are huge for Rapid City, what we can do and how we can expand our visitor industry through the winter months. So with that, thank you for your consideration.
Thank you. Ali, you're up next, followed by Hayden Fuchs.
Good evening, council members. I'm Ali Fermonic, CEO of Visit Rapid City. I'm here to just briefly highlight why we think a project like Liberty Land could be a major catalyst for increased visitation and economic growth here in Rapid City. We recently looked at Branson, Missouri. Now that's just a town of just about 12,000 people, but they have Silver Dollar City as its anchor attraction. That's an 1880s themed park, includes unique dining, amusement park rides, a live theater, and world-class events. What we found was over 90% of visitors who traveled more than 50 miles to visit that theme park also spent money at other local businesses in Branson. And they didn't just spend a little money, they spent 2 to 4 times more outside the park than they did inside the park. And even more interesting, some of the park's busiest days directly aligned with youth sports tournaments. So that tells us there's a strong synergy between sports tourism and theme park attendance. So now, while we don't have conclusive data that this will make anyone's trip longer or extended by a day or multiple days, I think we can confidently say a theme park would give families a strong reason to extend their stays and stay with us in Rapid City longer. In short, a theme park wouldn't just attract more visitors, it would drive spending across the city, support our local businesses, and enhance the visitor experience right here in Rapid City. Thank you.
Thank you. Hayden Fuchs, you're up next, followed by Calvin Luke.
Councilmen and women, thank you so much. I'm asking for your support also on the Liberty Land TIF. I was born and raised here in Rapid City, and I grew up downtown with a very heavy tourism business. And I'm echoing what a lot of other people are saying, but I think a vote for this would bring way more revenue to the city and to the surrounding region. because it's going to drive way more tourists to stay in the region. So again, asking for your support in this, and think it's a huge vote of confidence and forward-looking to Rapid City. So thank you.
Thank you. Calvin, you're up now, and followed by Randy Oliver, or is it Olivier? Yeah. I did a quick glance. I'm sorry. I knew that too. All right, Calvin.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor and City Council members. I come to you again tonight to voice my opposition to Liberty Land. It is all a big smokescreen. All you have to do is look at all the tourist attractions you've had in the past that have went out of business, like Independence Hall, like Marine Life. Why do you want this when you have not learned your history? Those that do not learn their history are doomed to repeat it. Is that what you really want for the citizens of Rapid City and your children and grandchildren to be stuck paying for a boondoggle? All we have to do is look at the Civic Center. What a boondoggle that was. The tickets are very expensive compared to going elsewhere to buy tickets. Once again, I stand in opposition to this. Thank you very much. Have a good night.
Thank you. All right. Mr. Olivier, you're up next, followed by Pat Roseland.
Randy, is this one better? Randy Olivier, I'm a commercial broker at Remax Advantage here in Rapid City. Grew up in the Nemo area, been kind of a citizen here on and off my whole life. Thanks for having us. I'm also speaking to item 33 with Liberty Land, and just wanted to speak professionally. I've done this for 13 years in the area now, commercial broker. When we bring national companies to our attention, they'll always ask me, what do you have for TIF? And what do you have for tax abatements? And if we have neither, they'll skip the entire state and they'll go to the more friendly areas. Des Moines, Iowa, for instance, has a 10-year tax abatement because they were concerned about their downtown. Now one of the most successful downtowns in the country for their size. So the TIF helps these national companies look at us and say, hey, thanks for the help. We will repay this, in the time frame, and usually ahead of it. And John Roberts is also a commercial broker. I know him through the profession, and while he can't speak to this from my angle, he'll understand what I'm saying with these national companies that come in. I think this is a great project. I think it creates a great stream. We took our motorhome to just north of Hot Springs. They have a little cold lake up there. And I talked to the owner this weekend, and he said, hey, we have like 4 or 5 families that just come up here, so staycation, right? So I think you'd have a lot of Rapid City people using this as well. Thanks for your time. I hope you vote for this TIF. I think it's healthy.
Thank you, sir. And Mr. Roseland.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. Citizen here. I am in support of the resolution to create a tax increment financing district and resolution to adopt a project plan. Liberty Land is a once-in-a-lifetime project that will create jobs, housing, and entertainment venue for the citizens of Rapid City, the Black Hills, and our tourists who decide to come and visit us. I am hoping that this last 2 weeks, those of you who needed more information before making an informed decision received what you were looking for. By embracing this resolution, you will demonstrate your commitment to fostering long-term growth for our community. This is your time to seize this opportunity to leave a legacy that future generations will look back on with pride, knowing that you acted boldly and with unity. The choice that you make this evening will shape the landscape and the spirit of our community for decades. Please make your decision with wisdom and with optimism for our future and approve this resolution. Thank you.
Thank you. That will conclude our public comment period for these items. And we will move on to non-consent items 28 through 35, beginning with number 28. The second reading and recommendation of ordinance number 6676, an ordinance amending the Rapid City Municipal Code to repeal 2.49 relating to the Community Investment Committee. Motion by Lehman with a second by Evans. All in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries. Item 29, first reading of ordinance number 6675, an ordinance amending section 17.06 of the Rapid City Municipal Code, a request by Vision Quest Solutions for a rezoning request from Office Commercial District to General Commercial District for property generally described as being located at 4924 5th Street. Motion by Sechrist with a second by Bieberdorf. All in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries. Item 30, first reading of ordinance number 6677, an ordinance amending the set of hearing requirement in section 16.08.120 of the Rapid City Municipal Code. Motion by Sechrist, second by Bieberdorf. All in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries. Item 31, a request by Advanced Design, Engineering, and Surveying on behalf of Paradigm Construction LLC for a request to waive the requirement to install sidewalk corner ramps at the Port Rush/Melbourne intersection as required per 16.16.050 of the Rapid City Municipal Code. And the recommendation is to continue to the August 4th council meeting per the applicant's request. Motion by Lehman with a second by Stroman. All in favor? Any opposed? All right, motion carries. Item 32, a request by Advanced Design, Engineering, and Surveying on behalf of Paradigm Construction LLC for a variance to waive the requirement to install sidewalk along Muirfield Drive as required per 12.08.060 of the Rapid City Municipal Code. And the recommendation is to continue to the August 4th council meeting per the applicant's request. Motion by Stroman with a second by Sechrist. All in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries. Item 33, resolution number 2025-070, a resolution approving the project plan for the Rapid City Destination District Tax Increment Financing District. This item was continued from the previous council meeting, and we will move along to council comments, beginning with Councilor Bieberdorf.
Yeah. Thank you, Chair. I would just speak in favor of this, TIF. I think it's something that we look at. Opportunity cost is so important, and I think government's really good at moving things down, postponing things. I've been working at the sports complex for years now. It's at a point now where if we don't take action, there's a huge opportunity cost. So I love the word transformational. I love the word visionary. But to hook the sports complex with Liberty Land is something I believe that we're going to look back 20 years and be a true transformational process for the city. Tons of work by a lot of different people to get it to this point. From the Lean family to mayor's office to finance. So I just speak in support of 33.
Okay. Next up, Councilor Maher.
Yes, I'd just like to echo what Councilman Bieberdorf said. This is a great project for Rapid City. It's really a great project for the Black Hills. And so I will be supporting this. And I think the tie-in that with the sports complex wasn't really realized at first, but now I think everybody understands. They go together. Thank you.
Okay, next up, Councilor Tamang.
Pat was for this, so it's tough for me to say anything against it, but I have to speak to opposition of this item. The concept that they must coexist, I don't think is correct. I think there's many projects that could be in synergy in this situation. And transformational also, I think, is a bit of a stretch. And I think if you convey that out through the populace, I don't think the constituents feel that Liberty Land is necessarily worthy of one of the biggest tax subsidies that this city has granted. And there's a lot of questions to it beyond just, is a $125 million tax subsidy a reasonable thing to do for the community benefit? That's my argument, but there's a lot of things that go in addition to that. This is the TIF district application, and it presents a timeline, and it says kind of what things are going to be built out. And I think when you look at that, it's important because Liberty Land has many, many components, and some of them are very high for community benefit. You're talking about an IMAX. You're bringing up like the really exciting things, the things that the kids and the families are going to love, and you're going to stay an extra day. But there's a lot of other components that are listed, things like timeshares, things like short-term rentals. And at this stage, maybe someone can correct me, but I don't see a guaranteed binding phasing schedule that says you're going to take a large TIF and you're going to develop it in a manner that promotes community benefit projects first. So that's one piece. There's other aspects that concern me about this too. The financing aspect concerns me. In this particular project, again, This is a big TIF. I looked back to try to find the sizes of benefit. And now TIFs in many cases cost the city very little. This particular project is self-financed, meaning that the developer acts as a private bank. And when you look at the biggest line item for this TIF, that's taxpayers' dollars that would be going otherwise to our funds, $50 million is going in interest from 7.5% interest that's developed from basically private financing. And it begs the question, if the developer can self-finance upfront, charge themselves 7.5% interest and still profit over 20 years, are we absolutely sure that the public needs to subsidize this? Is this something that genuinely calls for the public to be involved? And then the other piece that a lot of people are upset about is it's not just no liability. This calls for $9.5 million of upfront money from the city to build out some roads. Tisch Boulevard, widening of Seeger, some sewer work. That's $9.5 million that's going to be spent. Now, I know the argument is, hey, that's stuff that we got to do anyway. But the truth is, if you walk down Parkview, Maple, Texas Street, those roads are falling apart. They are all red on our projections. Those streets need to be prioritized. So if you're asking for $9.5 million now to put towards those, and that's money up front from the city acting as a developer. So again, just to circle around, it comes down to community benefit for me. And when you look at the size of this tax subsidy, you have to ask, what's the community benefit? Is it jobs? I don't think so. It looks to me like these jobs are largely relatively low-paying jobs, maybe seasonal. Is it housing? I'm not convinced of that either. I look at the housing, I think it's very possible. We're looking at short-term rentals, timeshares, things of that nature. It might be economic development, but overall for these reasons and just the overwhelming, I think, consensus that it's not necessarily something the community feels would bring forth a lot of benefit, I do oppose this.
All right, next up, Councilor Seacrest.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I appreciate the opportunity to comment on this project, and I appreciate Councilman Toming's comments as well. I think that he's done an excellent job of reviewing the project plan and looking at this from a critical perspective. I, however, am going to speak to this from the opposite side in support of this project and the opportunity that's presented here. However you described that. I do have some questions I'd like to direct to Director Fisher, if I may. But just wanted to speak to what I see as benefits and some of the community benefits to this project, which are monumental, you could say. That we're leveraging outside sales tax revenue, meaning that we're bringing in opportunity from outside the community, which is going to benefit all of us, property and residents of Rapid City. We're also providing a much needed entertainment component to the community, especially during the winter months. I know that's already been said, but it should be restated that there really is a lack for entertainment for families, and we hear time and time again about families leaving our community for just generally lack of things to do, and can attest to that, having children and always looking for fun things to do that are affordable, of course, for our family as well. So as far as I'm concerned, the risk is limited on the city side of this. We're going to be upfronting the capital costs for the city infrastructure improvements that are part of this project. These capital improvements are necessary improvements for the northeast side of Rapid City and for our future growth. And I believe that they're worthwhile investments. I would not be opposed to the city having our capital costs reimbursed first, if that would be something we consider as a group. I know right now we have it set for payback with the TIF is roughly 13% goes to the city per year, and 87% would go to the developer until the TIF's paid off at year 20. I've heard several constituents write in and actually have heard some people discuss that, front loading the payback to the city. So I'm not sure if there's opposition to that, but I wanted to just direct a couple of questions to Director Fisher. One, I believe I had been told this in conversation, and I've spent many hours discussing this project with city staff and fellow community members to just get smart about this. But my understanding is, and correct me if I'm wrong, that the city is not going to move forward with our capital improvements until we have agreements in place with this particular project. So that was my first question. And then the second question is in relation to Mr. Tamang's comments that the developer will be self-funding this project. That wasn't my understanding. I believe that they were leveraging some capital cash and then financing 43% or 43 million, roughly 43 million of this project with a financial institution. So if you could also clarify that, or if, I'm not sure if you're the right person.
All right, first we'll go to Community Development Director Vicki Fisher. Sam.
Thank you, Mayor. If I could, I will answer your first question, and then I'm going to defer to Daniel Ainsley, our Finance Director, on the second one.
Thank you.
So you are correct. When the city partners with a developer and we put investment into a TIF, we do so with a recognition of what that expense is going to be and what it's going to cover. However, within our commitment to the project, we will ensure that the project is healthy and well on its way before we start putting actual expenses into doing these streets and utility improvements. Similar to what we would do with any other project when we've got oversizing and we're working with the developer on oversized commitment. So again, while we have the commitment identified in the TIF, that commitment won't come forward until we see actual concrete movement and commitment by the developer per projects to make sure that this is going to stand up. And with that, I'll defer to Director Ainsley on the second part.
Could I just reply to your comment really quick, if I may? Thank you for that explanation. I just feel that that's important to note, just that we've had TIFs in the past that some agreements fell through and things didn't work out the way we had hoped they would. So as far as the city's investment in this, and we're financing as coming alongside the developer as a developer essentially, I just appreciate that we're making sure that those investments are sound prior to moving forward, and that we know that this project is very likely to be successful. Thank you.
All right, and Director Ainsley for that second question.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. In regards to the developer's portion of the TIF, which is the lion's share of the TIF itself, the TIF agreements state that the interest would be capped at 7.5%. That is lower than what the city has traditionally done. In years past, the interest was capped at 9%. And so it is a reduction. In regards to where the actual capital would come from, that would be similar to what other TIFs have been, which is up to the developer to seek either private financing or internal financing. That's not really the purview of the city to review who provides that capital, because at the end of the day, it's really a liability of the developer. What we're trying to do is to ensure that the developer is not assessing a higher interest rate than what the council has agreed upon. And so that's why that's spelled out that it's a 7.5%, which again is lower than what traditionally the city has authorized. But maybe if Joel would want to speak on that, but I'm not quite sure if they have their financing in place yet.
Okay. Thank you. We're going to move on to Councilor Stroman.
Thank you, Mayor. I speak in favor of this proposal. Also, I think it's something that Rapid City is going to benefit from for years and years. It's uniquely situated for our tourism economy, and I think it's an opportunity that we just can't pass up. I appreciate my colleague Dr. Tamang's comments and his thorough research of this, and I appreciate the fact that he voices those comments because I think it helps us make better decisions up here. I do believe that the $9.5 million for infrastructure is money well spent. Even if something happened, we'd still have the infrastructure that we're going to need eventually, and we're probably going to have it at a much lower cost than what it would take in 10 years or whenever we decide that we just have to have that expansion of the streets and utilities there. I also think that this would be an opportunity for our community in the labor force. I think the construction trades and the retail trades and all the things that's going to go into building and constructing these facilities. We talk about jobs. I mean, I'm kind of concerned about having enough people to do the work that it's going to take. I think that there's going to be really good jobs that's going to come from this. And I think it's just a win on every side for the community. And so I'm voting in favor of this. Thank you. I yield.
Thank you. Next up, Councilor Evans.
Thank you very much. People that are reading the agenda note that I'm the one that was originally opposed to this coming from committee because I really didn't understand what it was about and how it worked. We've been given a chance to get a great deal of understanding, see some of the vision that's involved in this. And so I'm going to be supporting this tonight as well. One of the speakers commented that why is the city so underdeveloped? Well, it has been because people have not been willing to reinvest in themselves, in their own community, to have pride in what they're doing and take a chance on themselves. And I think this might be something that starts to change that. I think the plans are spectacular, and I really hope it's a huge success because rarely are we presented with something that is this scope, or actually this quality. And I think the last time we saw something like this generating enthusiasm was the Dunbar proposal by Kevin Costner, which fell through because of funding that went bad in Asia and everything. So maybe this is the time it regroups and we start moving forward on such a thing that we need so desperately. There's really not many reasons to stay here in downtown Rapid City, aside from staying in downtown Rapid City. Maybe this is one of the things that's going to change that. So I hope it's a success, and I'm going to support it tonight. Thank you.
Thank you. Next up, Callie Meyer. Councilor Callie Meyer.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I think I've really wanted to spend the last 2 weeks understanding community concerns and trying to find the answers to those. And during my research, I found two main issues, two reoccurring themes that the community kept mentioning. And I think the first was people said, we don't want this, we need our roads fixed instead. And I don't think it's fair that they aren't mutually exclusive. So if anything, I think this will help with our roads, help fund our CIP. I think the sales tax revenue is going to start helping that right away. And the second piece, people were really concerned. They said this is too big of a risk. I think with sound bites on the internet, it's very easy to perceive this as the city is writing a check to Liberty Land saying, here's your $100 million, go do what you want, and that's not the case. So people were really concerned about the risk for the city, and I think if people understood that Liberty Land carries the risk, that would ease their concern. Selfishly, I think I would like to see an increased built environment. There's parts of this project that I would love to participate in myself, and I think running for council, it was wanting to see representation up here for myself. And so I said, if I wasn't on here, what sort of vote would I want? And I would want it to go through. Another note is this reminds me of Main Street Square. I think a lot of people thought it was going to fail. People genuinely received death threats as Main Street Square was being built, which I think is almost comical when we see it today. So I don't ever want to be someone who's afraid of making progress and having vision. And I think it reminds me of something we heard at the beginning of the meeting today, where when ordinary becomes default, we don't get progress. And so I'll be in favor of this project.
Thank you. Next up, Councilor Pettigrew.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. First of all, I want to thank Pete and Joel for making a quick meeting happen. I had a lot of questions, and I engaged several council members to go with me as well, and we had a good discussion out of their office. we had a lot of questions, and I think we had our questions answered. You know, if their plans come to fruition, it's going to be an amazing project. And I've gotten more calls, emails on this than I have on any topic. And, you know, people say, well, they can't do that. Well, you know, they own the land. And as long as they put something out there that meets our building codes and zoning codes, you know, they can build anything they want out there. We didn't ask Rushmore Crossing when that project was built for their permission to do that. So I look at that similar to that project. But when I get to, you know, to the bottom of it, I can't support this project. I have concerns about the water use. Water is very precious. You wouldn't know it today, but we are in a drought, and so where's the water going to come from? I've had people ask me where all the workers going to come from. As we all know, our employment rate is 1.8% now, and I can't find people to work in my business, and I pay a lot more than these businesses will pay, so where are the workers going to come from? I'm concerned about the housing, and the public comment wasn't required on this project. I understand that, but a lot of the calls that I have received is why wasn't there public comment? If it comes, it's a huge project. It's going to change all of North Rapid, and maybe some sort of public comment, some sort of open house, educating people on it would have been beneficial. And I've, like I said, I've gotten a lot of calls. I've gotten calls from bankers, lawyers, accountants, prominent business people. I talked to 2 people today I don't even know. I know their names. Again, asking why would we support this? And I just feel that the TIF process has been massaged a lot. I spent several hours rereading South Dakota Department of Revenue's guidelines on the TIF, and I just don't see where an amusement park falls into that category. And so I can't support it. It's going to pass, and I wish the Leans the best of luck on this, but I just can't support it. Thank you.
And Councilor Roberts.
Thank you. I waited until last. I like to be last. So, you know, one of the things that I find interesting every time we have a discussion about a TIF is that we're giving these huge subsidies away to people. You know, we're taking money out of the taxpayer's pocket. Well, I call BS on that because of the fact that this property is an undeveloped property. This property is generating thousands of dollars worth of taxes right now, which is really nothing. When it's built out, if it becomes built out, which I hope it becomes built out, you know, Rapid City was a city built on tourism, and I think this is pretty cool that we're looking at bringing it to the next level. So that's awesome. You know, there's a lot of challenges. I could answer all of the challenges that people have made on this dais tonight, but again, that's not our purview. Them not finding workers, that's not our problem. They're the ones that are making this decision. They're the ones that are taking this risk, and we should be giving them the opportunity to do that. Now, I do agree that there's some things in this TIF that I don't like. I mean, you know, the fact that we really have no idea of how all this money is going to be spent. But, you know, saying that, you know, we're giving them this huge tax subsidy, we're not. There's nothing there. And if this succeeds, this is going to be one of the largest generators of sales tax that Rapid City has. And that's where we get the majority of our money for our ongoing expenses, our police department, our fire department, our, you know, the things that are important to every single citizen of Rapid City. So I do think that we need to move forward with this. That's my opinion. I've taken many days. I've thought about a lot of things. I've asked a lot of people different questions. I feel confident now that the city isn't going to jump into putting infrastructure in before this project is well underway. I think it ties well into the sports complex. I think that it's going to be it's going to transform that whole area out there. I think it's going to be good for everything in that area. And the nice thing about that area out there is we've got more land to develop northeast. You know, we're not tied in. We can go all the way to the Meade County line and beyond and expand Rapid City. So I'm not concerned about the water. We've just had a water study recently. We've got plenty of water. One of the big problems we have is we've got the water and the water resources. We just can't produce as much, you know, if we were 150,000 people, but that's going to take a while. So, you know, I think that this is a great project. I look forward to it. I hope that it's successful. If it's not successful, that's on the developer. That's not on us up here. So I look forward to voting yes on this. Thank you.
Okay, I have nobody else in the queue, so well, I heard C. Chris followed by Bieberdorf with a motion to approve. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Aye. All right, the motion passes with 2 noes from Pettigrew and Tamang. Next, we'll move on to item 34, resolution number 2025-075, a resolution creating tax increment financing district Sunridge Senior Affordable Housing District. And we will begin with Councilor Tamang.
This particular project is fantastic on a number of levels. There's a number of people in our community that really struggle with affordable senior housing, and a lot of the middle generation, the older millennials or the younger Xers, are in a situation where they're taking care of their parents and they're also taking care of their kids. And this particular project, it's just the district obviously, but this project really hits to the core of that. And so that is worth a lot. And I had a chance to review a lot of the comments that were made prior, and I agree there's issues with some of the way the project lays out its funds, but overall, I find this very exciting. I find the fact that it's an infill site that we're going to be able to utilize that is arguably, you know, one of a very, very difficult site, that we're going to be able to use it for such an awesome project is just fantastic. And then I think projects like this, they really don't happen without public-private partnerships. And so I'm extremely excited to support this. Blue Line Development, I think they have a proven track record of doing this as well. And I would just say this is the kind of project that I firmly believe is the things that we should invest in. It takes care of people that is a real and present problem. It's not a theoretical problem, it's here now. And so these are the kinds of things that we should be willing to take risks on as a city to help these folks and folks that are in similar situations. So I'll strongly support this. And the last thing I'll say is, I know the plan was shot down earlier for other reasons, and so that's going to be probably coming back. But to me, that plan was absolutely reasonable, and I think we should be in a position where we take risks from the city standpoint when it's such a needed outcome. Thank you.
All right, next up, Councilor Maher.
Thank you, Mayor. I'm going to support this TIF, although I do have a few concerns with it. But the best thing about it is it's subsidized housing, and not really subsidized, but it's low controlled rent for 38 units. I don't think that they're that reasonably priced, but it also looks like it's difficult land to build on. But the only thing that concerned me about it was the fact that the developer's saying the city needs to finance it, and they can't charge more than 5%. I don't like that. I think banks should have a shot at this, and if it doesn't work at 7.5%, then we got another issue, because the staff report says that this project, or this TIF, will not be paid off in 20 years. So they're going to have to refinance it at year 18, and there's some risk that now the city is in third place on that refinancing loan. So again, I'm going to support it because I think it's a great infill project right in the heart of Rapid. Thank you.
Okay, Councilor Sechrist. Sorry about that. Stand by. There you go.
Thank you, Mayor. This item that we're reviewing today is just for the TIF district boundary, establishing the TIF district. My concern with this is that the city is self-financing this, and after the 20-year period, the TIF doesn't pay off with the way the project plan was written. I'd also like to just point out that throughout the city's project plan that's attached to the agenda, and again, this is the project plan I believe might be coming back for reconsideration if the boundary is approved today. It does say that staff does not recommend that the city finance this request several times throughout this document. So I recognize that this is a really great project and that housing for our senior community is something that we don't designate very often in this community. I would argue affordability for the $955 for a 1-bedroom, 627 square foot apartment. I think that that's a little unrealistic as affordable. I work with several older ladies that live in the Memorial Park apartments that have shared with me that their rent runs around $427 a month, and that's with utilities included. I think that is a separate HUD development, but I will not be supporting this project just with the way it stands in the project plan with the city's recommendation not to finance this project. And right now, as it stands, that's what they're recommending we move forward with. So thank you.
All right, next up, Councilor Roberts.
I just need to abstain from this. Thank you.
Duly noted. And Councilor Stroman.
Thank you, Mayor. I'm in support of approving this project plan. I think that affordable senior housing or of this type is something that we really need quite badly in Rapid City, and I think that the fact that the boundary is on a area that is already serviced by streets and utilities, I think is a big plus. I'll wait to see what the plan shows when they redo the plan, but at this point, I'm in favor of creating a district here and providing more senior housing, because someday some of us might get there. So I yield.
Okay, we have a motion by Lehman with a second by Tamang to approve. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Aye. All right, the motion passes with 2 noes from Sechrist and Pettigrew and 1 abstention from Roberts. Item 35, a request by Avid4 Engineering, Inc. for GJH Ranch, LLC for a preliminary subdivision plan for proposed Lot 1 of Sagebrush Acres subdivision, generally described as being located at 7195 White Buffalo Road. The recommendations to approve with stipulations. Motion by Lehman, second by Tamang to approve with stipulations. All in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries. That takes us to the public hearing items 36 through 39. We will now open the public hearing for items 36 through 39. I do have 1 speaker request form from Peter Schmid. Peter, you have 3 minutes, sir. The countdown timer will be right above us.
Hello, my name is Peter Schmid. I own 3 buildings in the downtown business improvement district and worked with the city and private citizens to start the bid. My memory is not great, but I'm saying 15 years ago. I've moved my offices a couple times, couldn't find the files, changed my email. But okay, so when we were on it, one of my roles was to go and sign up and talk to property owners. Let me just start over. So I had the 3 buildings, 5 different lots, pay about $4,000 a year into the bid. Total property tax is about $46,000. So this is about an 8% increase in the property tax they would pay. So it's not a small amount. When you hear 75 cents or $1.50 per thousand assessed value, it really does add up quite a bit. And at an 8% cap rate, a $4,000 expense represents about $50,000 in the value of the building that's down. So Roger Brooks hired 2011 to consult Rapid City how to get more tourists to stay here and stay here longer. He suggested Main Street Square. Ray Hillenbrand was involved. The town needed the business. The property owners downtown were seen as going to be the biggest benefactors of this. Main Street Square. If it worked, the property values would go up. So we wanted the bid to get everybody on board. So it worked. Main Street Square, as you mentioned earlier, it was a success. Property values did go up. The district was improved, and we're still paying the full assessment on the property. So sorry, I should have just read my notes here. It would have been easier. So I believe we needed 51% of the property owners to be on board before the bid would get approved, before Main Street Square would be funded. Sorry, I got thinking about the other TIFs here tonight. We should have just done a TIF. So it was, what we told property owners was this money is for projects in the district, Main Street Square being one. Once that project was done, the money would move on to other projects that would benefit Zone 2. So I'm on the bid board, we get Main Street Square gets going. Project number 2, lighting. So was it tree grates? It was something. I think it was lights. So, and the light project was spread over a number of years. So it was way more than the $250,000 that was being collected. And it was to connect Main Street Square with the School of Mines.
30 seconds.
So
I'm sorry.
Zone 1 would get in there. I guess what I want to say is now we're getting taxed double. We're getting this special bid, which is just a tax now that's going to go into the general fund of Main Street Square to keep it running and not for specific projects. And that's not what we told property owners 15 years ago what we were going to do. To get the property owners on board, it was if we didn't need the money, we weren't going to ask for it all. We were only going to ask for what we needed for a project at the time. And now that there's no project, it goes into the general fund, we shouldn't be asking for the full amount on that anymore. Sorry, I was so off topic there, but that's it.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you, Peter. That will conclude the public hearing items 36 through 39, and we will move on to consent. Public hearing items 36 through 38. I have Councilor Lehman in the queue.
Thank you, Mayor. The Finance Director has asked me to pull item 38.
Duly noted. Do we have a motion to approve items 36 and 37? Motion by Roberts, second by Tamang. All in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries. Item 38, approve resolution number 2025-67B, a resolution levying assessment for Downtown Business Improvement District 2025. And with that, we'll go to Finance Director Daniel Ainsley.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I just wanted to let the council know that we have been speaking with a couple of property owners. One, St. Joseph Properties, their assessment from the county was actually reduced. And so the assessment for the bid should actually be at $1,195.35. It's a reduction of approximately $500. And then in addition, Fifth and St. Joe LLC at 518 Fifth Street, similar story there, that there was a reduction in the assessed value from the county. And so their bid assessment should be $1,156.82. And then lastly, Double J Rentals at 920 Quincy is now an owner-occupied residence. So according to the ordinance, their assessment should be $0.
Okay. Callie Meyer, Councilor Meyer.
I will be abstaining from this item.
Duly noted. Okay, so do we have a motion to approve these items with the exception of those 3 properties listed by Director Ainsley? Or with the changes by those by Ainsley. We got a motion by Maher with a second by Sechrist. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries with 1 abstention from Councilor Meyer. That will take us to non-consent public hearing item 39. Excuse me, second reading of ordinance number 6674, an ordinance amending section 17.06 of the Rapid City Municipal Code, a request by Long Branch Civil Engineering, Inc. for Doak LLC for rezone request from General Agricultural District to Low Density Residential District 1 for property generally described as being located south of the intersection of Bunker Drive and Cobalt Drive. Got a motion by Lehman, second by Tamang. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? All right, motion carries. That takes us to the bill list. We are splitting these up into 2 different categories, and with that, we'll go to Finance Director Daniel Ainsley.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The bills for Main Street Square and Visit Rapid City total $184,350.85. The remaining bill list, we do need to add First American Title Company. That is for a closing that we just received the final today. That is for the fire station as well as parks that the city is purchasing off of Homestead. The total is $1,185,427.50, with a grand total of $13,532,495.55.
Okay. Next, we'll go to Councilor Meyer.
I'll abstain from 40A.
Okay, duly noted. All in favor of approving 40A? Say aye. Any opposed? All right, motion carries with one abstention from Councilor Meyer. Do we have a motion for 40B? Got a motion by Roberts with a second by Sechrist to approve. All in favor? Any opposed? All right, motion carries. Do we have a motion to adjourn? Motion by Stroman with a second by Tamang. All in favor? Any opposed? We're adjourned. Thanks, everyone.